Ethan Blackwell stood outside the small bakery rehearsing what he would say for the third time in 10 minutes. At 38, he had built a successful investment firm and commanded respect in boardrooms across the country. But right now, he felt more nervous than he had before any business presentation. He was about to ask a complete stranger to pretend to be his girlfriend for one day, and the absurdity of the situation was not lost on him. His sister's wedding was tomorrow, and for months she had been asking about his personal life with increasing concern. She had finally told him that if he showed up alone again, she would spend the entire reception trying to set him up with every single woman in attendance. Ethan loved his sister, but the thought of enduring that was more than he could handle. In desperation, he had come up with this plan. He pushed open the bakery door and saw her immediately. Claire Morgan stood behind the counter, her blonde hair pulled back as she arranged pastries in the display case. He had been coming to this bakery for weeks, and he had noticed how kind she was to every customer and how she always had a genuine smile. More importantly, she had a young daughter who sometimes came by after school, which meant she would understand the family dynamics he was trying to navigate. Claire looked up as he approached, and her professional smile shifted to something warmer when she recognized him. She greeted him by name and asked if he wanted his usual coffee and croissant. Ethan took a deep breath and said he actually wanted to ask her something unusual. Claire's expression shifted to curiosity mixed with slight concern, and Ethan quickly assured her it was nothing inappropriate. He explained his situation as efficiently as possible, telling her about his sister's wedding and the well-meaning but exhausting matchmaking he was trying to avoid. He said he needed someone to accompany him as his date for one day, just for appearances, and he would pay her $1,000 for her time. Claire stared at him with an expression he could not quite read, and Ethan felt his face grow warm with embarrassment. Claire asked why he would ask her specifically, and Ethan admitted he had noticed she was kind and genuine, and he thought she might understand family pressure. He also mentioned he had seen her daughter and thought that meant she would be mature and trustworthy. Claire was quiet for a long moment before asking what exactly this arrangement would entail. Ethan explained it would just be attending the wedding ceremony and reception, staying for a few hours, and then going their separate ways. Claire surprised him by saying she would do it, but not for $1,000. Ethan asked what she wanted instead, and Claire explained that her daughter Maya needed to attend a specialized summer program that would help with her learning challenges, but Claire could not afford it. If Ethan would pay for the program, she would be his pretend date. Ethan agreed immediately, thinking it was more than fair, and they exchanged phone numbers to coordinate details. The next morning, Ethan picked up Claire and Maya from their modest apartment. Claire wore a light blue dress that suited her perfectly, and Maya wore a pink dress and carried a stuffed bunny. Maya was shy at first, but Ethan made an effort to talk to her about her bunny and her favorite things. By the time they arrived at the wedding venue, Maya was chattering happily, and Claire looked more relaxed. At the wedding, Ethan introduced Claire as his girlfriend, and his sister Jessica nearly burst with excitement. She pulled Claire aside immediately, and Ethan watched nervously as they talked. Maya stayed close to Ethan, and he found himself enjoying her company more than he expected. She asked thoughtful questions about the flowers and the decorations, and Ethan answered each one seriously, treating her observations as important. During the ceremony, Maya sat between Ethan and Claire, and when she got restless, Ethan quietly entertained her with a game of drawing on the program. Claire watched this interaction with an expression that made Ethan's chest feel warm. After the ceremony, during the reception, Jessica pulled Ethan aside and told him she really liked Claire. She said Claire seemed genuine and kind, unlike the women Ethan usually dated from his social circle. As the reception continued, Ethan found himself genuinely enjoying Claire's company rather than just playing a role. She was intelligent and funny, and she had interesting perspectives on things he had never considered. When Maya grew tired, Claire apologized and said they should probably leave, but Ethan's parents intervened and offered to watch Maya so Claire could enjoy the party a bit longer. Maya agreed happily because Ethan's mother had promised to show her the garden. With Maya occupied, Ethan and Claire found themselves alone on the terrace overlooking the sunset. Claire commented on how beautiful everything was, and Ethan said he was glad she had agreed to come. Claire admitted she had been nervous about the whole arrangement, but everyone had been so welcoming that she felt comfortable. Ethan said his family clearly liked her, and he found himself adding that he liked her too, more than he had expected to like someone he had hired for the day. Claire looked at him with surprise, and Ethan realized he had revealed more than he intended. He clarified that he meant she was easy to talk to, and he appreciated her kindness toward his family. Claire smiled and said she had enjoyed the day as well, and she thought Ethan was different from how she had initially perceived him. She had expected someone cold and businesslike, but instead he had been warm and wonderful with Maya. As the evening ended, Ethan drove Claire and Maya home. Maya had fallen asleep in the back seat, and Claire and Ethan talked quietly about their lives. Claire shared that she had been a single mother since Maya was a baby, and she worked 2 jobs to make ends meet. The bakery was her passion, but it did not pay enough to cover all their expenses. Ethan found himself admiring her strength and dedication. When they arrived at Claire's apartment, Ethan helped carry the sleeping Maya inside. As he prepared to leave, Claire thanked him for keeping his promise about the summer program. Ethan said it was the least he could do, and then he surprised himself by asking if she would like to have dinner with him sometime, not as a business arrangement, but as 2 people getting to know each other. Claire looked surprised but pleased, and she said she would like that. Over the following weeks, Ethan and Claire saw each other regularly. Ethan made sure to include Maya in their outings because he understood she was a central part of Claire's life. They went to the park, visited museums, and had casual dinners together. Ethan found himself falling for both Claire and Maya, and he realized the life he had built around work and success felt empty compared to the warmth of spending time with them. 3 months after the wedding, Ethan's sister Jessica called to tell him how happy she was that he had found someone genuine. She admitted she had suspected the relationship started as something arranged because of how suddenly Claire had appeared, but she said it was clear that real feelings had developed. Ethan confirmed that his feelings were completely real, perhaps the most real thing he had experienced in years. 6 months after their first meeting, Ethan took Claire and Maya back to the wedding venue where it all began. They stood on the same terrace where he had first admitted he liked her, and this time there was no pretense. Ethan told Claire he had fallen in love with her and Maya, and he wanted to build a real life with them. He pulled out a ring and asked Claire to marry him, and Maya asked if that meant Ethan would be her dad. Claire said yes through tears of happiness, and Maya threw her arms around Ethan with pure joy. They married 6 months later in a small ceremony at the same venue, with Jessica standing as Claire's maid of honor. During the reception, Jessica gave a toast about how her wedding had brought together 2 people who were meant to find each other, even if it had taken an unusual arrangement to make it happen. Ethan added his own toast, thanking Claire for agreeing to his ridiculous request, and for showing him what really mattered in life. He said he had been looking for a pretend date for one day, but instead he had found a real family for a lifetime. Claire simply smiled and said that sometimes the best things come from the most unexpected situations, and she was grateful every day that Ethan had walked into her bakery with his unusual proposal. Years later, Maya would tell people the story of how her mother had been hired to pretend to be someone's girlfriend for a day. She would describe watching them fall in love for real and how her life had changed when Ethan became her father. The stuffed bunny she had carried to that first wedding still sat on her shelf, a reminder of the day their family began to form. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more tales of unexpected love. Leave a comment about a time when something that started as convenience became something real and meaningful.